When Novaflare characters get buffed, their lightcones do not. More often than not, they become useless, and these characters have to use someone else's lightcone instead. 10 characters have gone through the Novaflare so far, with many more to come, so let's take a look if their lightcones are still good for them. Let's go in alphabetical order. First, we have Black Swan's lightcone, which provides 40% effect hit rate, and is actually perfect for her because she does want 120% effect hit rate to fully utilize her trace conversion. And it also has attack buff and defense ignore, which she can get the full use of it because she does apply all of the dots in her ultimate. Plus, if you pair with High Silence also applies the dots. The only problem with this lightcone is it only buffs her own personal damage, and it does nothing for the team. So before her Novaflare, we used to run the Jiao Qiu lightcone, which is more supportive for her team. You would stick to this lightcone after a Novaflare because now she is the main damage dealer in the team. There's also a second alternative, which is the High Silence lightcone. Also has the 40% effect hit rate. And we have the damage taken vulnerability here. 6 stacks might be a bit hard to achieve at E0, and it does get better with E1 because it applies more debuffs. And we have the speed buff for the team, which is very nice because we used to run Dot with Runme, but now Dot don't really have space for Runme unless you put Sustainer, so this can help to replace the speed buff that you used to have with your Runme. So overall, I would say her lightcone is still good. Next, we have Blade. His own lightcone is still pretty decent, as it provides him 18% crit rate and a max HP buff, especially this damage buff when he consumes or is attacked, which is what his kit wants to do. He also has an alternative, which is the My Day lightcone now. It also provides him HP, healing, incoming healing, and to get this 500 HP, this condition, you need 8334 HP on Blade in battle and after buffs. However, this is a limited lightcone. But for Blade's lightcone, I believe you can just simply buy it if you are already getting the battle pass because they give you the shards. So technically, it is easier to get this compared to My Day's lightcone. Then you can save your limited pools for other things. Overall, I would say you shouldn't really pull for a new limited lightcone for him, and you can just stick to his own signature lightcone. Firefly. Okay, this is the first lightcone that ever since day 1 I've been telling people not to pull for this lightcone because it's terrible. Okay, firstly, this lightcone, the attack is so low, look, 476. Let's compare it to another lightcone. Let's say Danheng. You look at the attack difference. And why is this attack important? Because Firefly has a trace where she can convert attack into break effect, which is very important. And actually right, this lightcone is actually the best for damage. So why do I say that it's terrible? Firstly, it has this routed thing which delays the enemy, and especially when you have E2 Firefly, not delay, it's actually the speed lowered. It's okay, it's about the same. So why the delay is terrible is because, let's say if you have E2 Firefly, right, and E2 Firefly got buffed after a Novaflare, so you can actually activate the E2 every turn now. So delaying the enemies means that you can't break with Firefly, and if you can't break, you lose out on the E2. So what lightcone would you prefer to use instead? Well, I would say the final lightcone is obvious choice because it gives 12 speed, which helps her to get into higher breakpoints. Gives defense ignore, which if you know in Super Break team, you can hit very close or even actually hit 100% defense shred, depending on the teammates you have. Be sure to not overcap, of course, because from a relic set you have 25%, E1, Firefly has 15%, assuming you are E1. Field gives 18% and Dahlia gives 18%. So this total is 76% already, and it's 94 if you have Finon signature. If you happen to run Ling Sha or Runme as the 4th slot, you will overcap with this lightcone. And this damage buff you can't use, so it's whatever. If you care about 0 cycles, her signature lightcone is kinda bad. Else, if you only care about personal damage, her signature is the best. Next, we have Huo Huo, which her signature lightcone is still her best because she gets energy regeneration rate on it. Energy is the main reason why you would ever run Huo Huo, because it gives energy to the whole team. So if she can ult, she can provide energy to the whole team. The rest of it is pretty minor. But alternatives to abundance lightcones is plentiful. There's so many alternatives that you can run. Like even this lightcone, which I run on my own Huo Huo in my free-to-play account, it's free. It just gets her to heal more and that's it. And it works. This lightcone, I wouldn't say is like very high priority, but if you bought the battle pass, you can technically get it for free. So overall, Huo Huo's signature lightcone is just nice to have but not really needed. Jingliu's lightcone. Rest in peace, Jingliu. You were changed to HP scaling, but your lightcone did not get changed to get more HP. So let's compare it. 1164, right? Let's look at my day's lightcone. 1375. She didn't get the HP change because they don't change lightcones for Novaflare. So while this lightcone is actually still good for her, because 20% crit damage, and when you lose HP, she gets the damage buff and the defense ignore is very nice. However, if your Jingliu can hit 8334 HP, my day's lightcone is also a decent choice. However, I would not, just like Blade, I will not pull the lightcone just for Jingliu. If you already have a signature lightcone, you can just stick to it. Kafka's lightcone. So this lightcone is actually pretty good, okay, because it gives her a speed buff, and you know we want Kafka to be fast. And we also get an extra dot, right? Really nice, right? More dots, more damage. However, after Kafka's Novaflare, she's kind of more of the support unit, and you want to just run 4-piece Eagle. So therefore, her best lightcone is actually the lightcone that is free, which is this. Because her teammates can reduce defense, she can actually get the energy from tutorial lightcone, which lets her out more often to activate those DOTs. And this lightcone also gives her effect hit rate, so she can even drop effect hit rate body and just run attack body. So you can focus all in on just attack and speed and not much on effect hit rate. So overall, is Kafka's lightcone technically useless? Well, not really, because if you have E4 Kafka, which kind of gives her energy, you can technically use this lightcone. Next, we have Seele's lightcone. This is still pretty good. It gives her the 18% crit rate. And because most of Seele's attacks, all of Seele's attacks, right, if you miss, you do 0 damage. So she cannot miss crit. Therefore, the crit rate is very important. And then she has this speed buff on the lightcone, which she can easily achieve, especially now because she's in the 50-50 loss pool. So if you happen to lose a few times, you get her E2, you can get the speed boost stack, which will help her hit the 160 speed easily to cap out this lightcone passive. Although she does have another lightcone that she can potentially use, which is the Archer lightcone. Almost the same crit rate, it has an attack buff and more attack buff. But the problem with this lightcone is because you need to have the skill point cap of 6, you have to run her with Sparkle. And because Sparkle has so much crit damage, right? The crit damage from her own signature lightcone, it might not be as strong as the attack buff. But this lightcone, you have to use limited pools. But Seele's lightcone is actually in the shop. So if you happen to buy the battle pass, you can technically get it for free as well. Overall, I would say her signature lightcone is still good, but Archer's is obviously better if you can pull for it. And you have Sparkle. Okay, Silverwolf's lightcone. Nope. Never get this lightcone. Never. It is not good at all. Like this buff, right? It's only 1 turn. She doesn't need crit rate. The only thing nice about this is effect hit rate, but this is even lower than her free option, which is before the tutorial mission starts. However, if you have Kafka, your Kafka might be holding on to this lightcone. So her best lightcone technically is actually Cypher's lightcone, provided you can hit 170 speed in order to fully get all the effects. So this lightcone, fun fact, right? Because Silverwolf provides just enough defense threat, if she has this lightcone, right, she will actually provide 81% defense threat to the team. And if the teammate, the DPS, is holding like Magical Girl or something like Quantum Set, or they have some kind of defense down from someone, easily they can get 100% defense threat. So one more thing, this tutorial, if it's available to use on Silverwolf, especially if you have E1 Silverwolf, she can get a 1-turn ultimate. That's right, out every turn. It's kind of OP. So overall, no for Silverwolf signature lightcone, just run her other options like tutorial or Cypher's lightcone instead. Okay, Sparkle's lightcone. I wouldn't say this is terrible to get, because it does provide a lot of crit damage here and here, and even gives 10% crit rate, which is very nice, especially if you're running with a teammate that doesn't want to miss crit, right? But Sparkle herself already has so much crit damage, so this crit damage buff might not be very necessary. Instead, right, you would prefer to give her Sunday's lightcone because it can help with her energy, and it can be more skill point positive as well. So you can generate even more skill points for your Sparksy. However, do note that this damage buff, it doesn't work for elation damage. Just note that, okay? But because Sparkle is a harmony character, automatically, right, this is her best lightcone, which is S5 dance. Overall, the signature LC is great, but you don't need it. just use Sunday's Lightcone if you are running with Sparksy or Archer. If not, just use Dance. Welt's Lightcone. Nope, there's no point. Why do you want to increase the effect hit rate for this attack? Nowadays, you can just build enough stats for him. You don't need his Lightcone. Instead, right, you want to give him, if he's a support unit, Cypher's Lightcone, assuming you can hit 170 speed, so you can get the defense down. It also gives him more speed. This is his best support Lightcone. And if you don't have Cypher's Lightcone, you can literally just use Pearls of Sweat for defense down 16%. Or you can just use the free tutorial mission Lightcone, which will help him get the effect hit rate that he needs. And because he reduces defense now in his Novaflare, he can eat energy, so he can do more.
Survive or be destroyed. There is no other choice.
And with that, we have come to the end of this video. Thank you for taking your time to watch it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe if you want more. And that's all for today. Take care.